Morning, everybody. It's Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Glad you are here with me. And wherever you are in the world, please make sure you type in where you're joining me from, because that way I know that you are out there. And that's kind of important because this is a live video. Yes, it's the first of the month. Happy May Day. And I am taking your questions today. And I do this at least once a month. I used to do this every week, but that kind of tied me down, especially with my travel schedule so much. So do me a favor and type in where you are joining me from, and that way I know you're there. Hey, Sandra, I'm glad you're there this morning. Joanne, glad you're there. Farah from Piermont, glad you're here this morning. And the thing that kind of caught me this week was I just put out on Facebook. How old were you when you first started in retail? And I thought, I'll get like 30 people who respond. And I ended up getting something like, last count, 3,700 replies. The challenge, of course, is these are not my customers. So, I think there could be quite a debate on getting buzz when they aren't your customers, right? So, I mean, yeah, some could be, obviously, but just in general, people just like typing in things. So, needless to say, you'll see a little bit more of that on some of my Facebook pages. But today I am talking about just a mindset that I discovered a long time ago, and that I just wanted to share with you. And I think so many of us have grown up believing that there's something wrong, or we have I've talked about this before, the conversation of disappointment, right? Like a friend of mine who I said, oh, how was lunch? Well, and that's the way they start off, right? Everything sucks. And I think that's a really crippling effect when you have a business. And sometimes I see that in some of the comments on my various posts, whether it's the 400,000 people in LinkedIn or 18,000 on Twitter and Facebook each, that sometimes people are just caught in that. And I just want you to just see if you can erase that today and replace it with something that I learned an awful long time ago, which is just to think, wow, there is so much opportunity out there. The idea that opportunity is everywhere, instead of thinking that opportunity is something that happens to somebody else, or not being grateful for what you've got. It's a matter of just thinking opportunity is everywhere. Jim Carrey, when he was a struggling actor, he went up to the top of Mulholland Boulevard in Los Angeles, looking out all over all the city lights. And he would say to himself, I already own all this. I just haven't claimed it. And I think that sense of opportunity is what's missing in a lot of stores when I walk in. It just feels like under siege still. And it was 2 years ago that I was doing those Hope for Retail videos. I did one every day from, my goodness, middle of March all the way through the middle of May, and one showed up to me. And remember, we were thinking, this lockdown is only going to last for a month or so, and the reality was much different. But even then, in the deepest part of that, the idea that opportunity is everywhere. And so I want you to shift your mind, whatever it's you came into this broadcast with, about how only the lucky get this, or if only I was prettier or younger or older, or fill in the blank. This idea that opportunity just isn't there for you, and just to cultivate that idea that opportunity is everywhere. There's so much opportunity. Where do I look next? And I think if you just do that, you get centered in your heart, and you get centered in the way that you look at your business. And more importantly, you get centered in the way you talk to people. And then you find out there's amazing things going on. So if you like what I have to say, give me some love, give me some thumbs up. You can do that. I don't have my ones for LinkedIn up today, but you can certainly let me know that you're there as well. Hey, Kathleen from Washington, D.C., Jason from Frederick, Maryland. Glad you're here this morning. Boy, I got a lot of you talking to me this morning. That's great. But we have a lot of questions, some of which I pick, some I don't have answers for, and I don't usually just get up to talk about them, although I do try to leave this as, good morning, Connie. Glad you're here from Southeast Minnesota. Perspective is everything. That's exactly right, Donna. That's exactly it. And thanks so much, David, from checking in from Portlandia. That's very important. All right, good. So Morgan asks, should we aim to have 100% of our products available on our website, or is there a more strategic way to do this? Yes, Morgan. I think, there are two big things to understand about e-com, and every business needs to have an e-com, or we call that online business, because yes, the pandemic, dear God, will not, come raging again. But if it does, at least you have that opportunity. And a lot of people got caught short because they said, oh, this internet thing is a fad, and I don't have to be there. And there's still people today that actually will tell me, oh, I don't have to be there. It's like, well, then you're a fool, because you have to be there, because your customers are there. That's the key. Your customer's there. You don't take an ad out in a newspaper anymore because people don't get physical newspapers. Oh, well, we do. Well, good for you. Yay. But your customers, if they're looking for something, are going to start on Google or Safari or something like that. So, Morgan, yes, you definitely should have your best sellers on your website. And the way I always think of it is, again, there's two camps. One, you want to just get online and you think that if you just master SEO and everything, you'll be able to do what Amazon does. Let's have a reality check. 55% of search goes to Amazon and another 7 to 9 goes to Walmart. So realistically, you are trying to go after roughly 30% of the traffic, and everyone else encompasses that. So whether it's Macy's or Bed Bath and Beyond or D2C companies, etc., get a little perspective on that. That may not be it. But here's the other side, which is your loyal customers want to shop from you. So all the good that you've done in your store, they want to go through and be able to say, "Oh, I want to get that from Jane." And they go to your website and there's nothing there. You don't have to have everything, and certainly look at the things that are more profitable. You don't have to have every little item, but what is your goal? Is what's your average ticket that you want to meet online, and then figure out, well, how do I do that in such a way that gets that? And there's an awful lot of ways, and I certainly encourage all of you, if you have Shopify, get the Shopify Plus, and I think there's some third-party integrations that you can use where search your site is much faster than what it takes in Shopify. So I would definitely spend that time and that money to make sure that that's all up to speed, because your customers want to do business with you. So that's the main answer, Morgan. I'm not a fan of saying, "Oh yeah, just get a site up there and try to go up against Amazon and Walmart and all of them." No, what I'm saying is your loyal customers, they want to be able to see that. So I hope that helps. If I was a pet store, I would have all of my food upline so that people could have it delivered, because that's why Chewy exists. Nobody wants to drag home a 40-pound bag of dog kibble. Just saying. All right. What do you think about what I'm saying? Give me some thumbs up. Let me know you're out there. Otherwise, I don't know you're there. The algorithms don't show it to as many people. And I need you to help me on that, because I do this as a service for you. Amanda says, we're going to be building a new retail jewelry store. Good for you, Amanda. It is a Main Street location after being in a mall for 35 years. Dear God, I think I must have cut out the rest of your question there, Amanda. So it's going to take me 1 second to find where the rest of Amanda's question is for Bob here. I think you were one of the first ones yesterday, so I'll find that shortly. You can talk amongst yourselves for a minute while I try to find that post. All right, so there I am. I don't need to see me. There we go. And what did Amanda say? Oh, that was what it was. Any advice? Okay, well, any advice is make sure it doesn't go through and make the mistakes of poor sight lines. Make sure that it has technology enabled. I would make sure that you had uh, LED screens there that you could end up be able to show things and have people be able to share with you where the wedding's located, et cetera, like that they could just beam it up. I would make sure that I would do as many tech savvy things as possible. And then I would make sure that everything was Wi-Fi, and make sure that your POS was something you did on a tablet instead of something you had to go around or anything like that. I'd make sure that the jeweler was visible. So if you could have the person up front who's actually working on it or something like that, I would do it. And if wherever you can minimize the counter where it's just a big barrier, I would encourage you to do that. I think there's an awful lot of great jewelry store designs you can see out there by Googling them. But don't just do what you've always done, because I think jewelry stores have such a chance to reinvigorate the shopping populace by realizing that it's team selling, it's selling next to each other. It's not this, let me explain the 4 C's. Like, just shoot me. Do you don't think a person walks in the door knowing that? All you have is a personal relationship, and that personal relationship stops when I have that counter and you have your little scrunchy keys with the magic, thing. And then make sure you can be able to put theater to it, right? So having the right gloves to be able to show a piece and being able to do it. And I know the security is a problem, and that's always a problem right now, right? Because there are jewelry heists that still, and having a security guard at the front and having to be buzzed in. Just look at what other people are done. That's what I always say with store design. Go around, take pictures, go to Pinterest, put them in a board, then talk to a architect and ask them, how do I do this, instead of just duplicating what you did 35 years ago. I hope that helps. Oh, Revive, you're welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. Terry, glad you're here this morning. All right. There's so much opportunity, Joanne, you have kind of a long part, but your basic idea is that you're struggling with people walking in with food into your smaller store, and you've been lenient, but somebody came in eating ice cream and asked if you mind, and you said yes, and she struggled and walked out, and you want to put up a sign that says no large strollers or open food. You used to have one. So it's your choice. I mean, Joanne, at the end of the day, any sign that says don't is basically saying you're not shouldn't be in here, and no food makes us feel good, but someone's still going to walk in with food. So then you're going to say, did you see the sign? I just think you're putting yourself in that place where, you might be thinking this happens all the time and it might not, but, ADA regulations are that people have to be able to get into your store, and strollers and certain amount of space for all of that. So I would look carefully before you're saying banning people, and then understand if that's really that big of a deal to it. Then you know I don't think a sign is necessarily going to do it. How are you going to be more invitational when someone comes in than to be confronted with a sign and stay out? That's my big issue. And again, you're going to do whatever you want. So you asked my opinion. There it is. Alexandria, new hire, has been late 4 out of 6 shifts. Spoken to her twice. Am I crazy to let her go and possibly have to reduce my store hours while I take maternity leave soon? I fear I won't find a suitable replacement. If I let them go, I'll have to reduce store hours and shorten my leave. I'm just not sure the work of training and retraining customers for those weeks with new hours is worth it, or if I should suffer through and keep this person. Alexandria, again, you're kind of like Joanne above. I don't have, there's no great idea here. But let's be honest, this new hire is showing you exactly who she is. So thinking that somehow keeping her is going to magically let you take your maternity leave without problems is kind of hopeful. Let's just put that at best. They're showing you who they are. They're late 4 out of 6 times. I don't know if that's a minute. That's acceptable. 10, borderline, or more than that. The real issue here is you are going to be leaving your store open with someone who's careless. And so, I know that one of our best sales RX customers, she has 3 stores, and she had a baby in the middle of a pandemic as she was reopening her stores, and it all worked. But it's certainly a lot of stress and a lot of things are going on. But I don't personally think you have the right person here. And if you're hiring people at 775, you never will get someone who will work there. So raise your standards a bit, pay more, and you'll be able to have a great baby and have a great business, but don't go cheap. How's that? Matthew, is the labor shortage coming to an end? That's a joke, right? The labor shortage is not coming to an end. What's happening is the power is coming to the employees, which is why unions are happening at Starbucks and Apple and other places, because the college educated aren't not necessarily able to get a job. So they've been working in these stores, and then they say, oh, well, we'll just make a union and we'll demand $30 an hour, which some are proposing. And whether they get it or not, that's not the issue. The issue is the power is with the employees. The years of being able to tell people you're going to work every weekend and nights, and you're going to do it at $7 or you're fired because we had so many people, I've come to an end. That's come to an end. I think what I'm noticing is less of those signs of panic saying, please, apply for us. And I think people are realizing that you're going to have to pay more to get people who want to stay. But at the same time, a lot of people reading who jump jobs are realizing that the grass was greener and maybe they got a little bit more money, but they don't like it as much. So this grand resignation is kind of this grand musical chairs where people are coming back. And some people say it's over, it takes a year. Other people say 6 months. It just depends. But so there you go. How's that? Hey, Car Gift, I'm glad you're here from Portugal. Thank you so much. What's Jason saying? Last night, my wife said I should just buy everything online because stores don't carry what she needed. Well, I don't believe in that. I mean, I don't believe anybody is that. I don't believe stores don't carry anything you need, or 80% of the world wouldn't be in a brick and mortar store right now, which is still the case. And yeah, you can buy stuff online. I can't tell you, I've responded to those ads that in Instagram and Facebook for shirts and clothes and stuff. I must return 3/4, but I'm done with that. But it looks interesting. Like, oh, this will be something interesting. Yeah, well, the pictures usually look better than they are. Unlike this cool shirt, which I got from Levi's many years ago. Take a look. One of their vintage designs from the 60s. Do you think I went into a store to find that? Absolutely not. I was in the meatpacking district in Manhattan and saw it, and I was like, "That really looks different," and it looked great, so I got it. That's still the point of why people shop in brick and mortar stores is discovery. This idea that everything in the store is askew and people are just buying. There's a certain personality type that that's all they want, and they brag that they don't want to talk to people, and they brag that they don't need it, and they pay less. And great, well, good for you. But the bulk of people, 80%, want to go into brick and mortar store. And you look at the people who are really doing well, you look at the Lululemons of the world, it's coming from the brick and mortar stores and how they have been able to add to the experience instead of just being a place that's point and click. So I hope that helps. Tim says, as far as videos, should I share lifestyle or product based content? So, Tim, I'm going to ask you, why can't they be both? Why can't you be product based? Because you sell musical instruments. Uh, but I would also still come back to the base. And by the way, Tim was in one of my early, my goodness, I think it was 5 years ago. I did a whole uh, boot camp on how to use streaming for Facebook. And I've been so proud to see all of you who took that, who ended up being right ready for when the pandemic hit and went right in and knew what to do. So, Tim, I'd still go back to the same thing, 5 things that keep people from buying a piano, 5 things that you can do on any piano right now, and then show it, and then say, and one of the easiest pianos to get is an electronic one because it's X or Y or Z. Or you say, designing around a baby grand. What are the 3 things to think about? But as long as you keep your focus on what they have, those questions, what your customer has about, if you keep those questions in mind, then I would say teach, and then you say, and by the way, we also have it that way, versus this new widget has X, Y, and Z, and you need this, because that's what most of the stuff I see that are sponsored posts right now. And I think it's kind of a big turnoff. And you do a fantastic job by doing a live every single day, doing shout outs and music and my birthday and all kinds of things. So you're doing it, my friend. And you can certainly send me a DM or an email sometime, or maybe I'll join you on one sometime. How's that? All right. So good. Yeah, I get it, Joanne. But the same idea still comes. Either you're welcoming or you aren't. That's the problem you're going to have to resolve. Either it's one or the other. So if you want to put it up and see what happens, I just think that yeah, it wasn't like that 10 years ago. Ellen's show is ending, and she started off by saying, "When I started this, there was no iPhone." So there's a lot of things that change, but it's like, how are you becoming a person that people want to do business with or not? So there you go. I hope that helps. I love that, David. I think that goes back to the idea of the employee who late 4 out of 6 times. It doesn't feel right. That should tell you. Yeah, I love that. That's great. That's great. That's great. Okay, top fan Nancy. What is the best turn of a phrase when presenting a client the cost of a custom design? This is a little bit of this is a little long. The best I have to offer has been, with these materials and this design, your order will be X. I feel that phrase communicates price and signals the whole project is open to change if that doesn't meet it. What I hear employees say is the design cost X. Is that okay? Okay, that's like the worst. Well, it's not the worst. Clear they're shopping their own wallets. Or if I'm hearing the phrase, this price is out at X, or even worse, what's your budget? Thankfully, I haven't heard that in the last time it was addressed immediately. So I would just say, Nancy, I think you've got the right idea. I just think that I would start off with whatever. The thing with custom framing is, we are putty in your hands. We don't know what we want. I mean, I'm just talking for my own self. Most of those up there were actually framed by the artist, and I framed other things. But I think if you just get your mindset in an A, B, and C, you could say, what was yours? With these materials and this design, your order would be X. So you'd start off whatever the best is, and you'd say, or we could remove this frame and use a cheaper one, or we could remove the glass and that would be cheaper still. What do you think would be best? That's what I would do. Give them your best and say, we could change this, it would be less, and we could change that, instead of, um, you know, either this is the price. And the goal would be letting them understand that things can be removed, great, but you're still trying to sell the most. So try that and let me know how it works, Nancy. Sandra, I'm noodling with doing videos. That's great. I've got a very creative store and trying to come up with some creative idea. Everything has to be creative. Don't try to talk me out of that one. I'm going to stop you right there. Creative doesn't work necessarily just because it's crazy and silly. I've seen people like put on crazy hats and stuff. It's like, that's interesting for 3 seconds and then I'm out. I don't care what your message is. You're not making it for me. You're making it for you. Look at the great time we're having. I don't care. I'm stuck at a job. Why the hell am I watching you? So you always start with the viewer in mind. Why are they watching and what do they need to do? Like I'm modeling for you right now, which is what do I want them to do? What do I want them to do? Oh, I want them to ask questions and I'm going to simply answer them. And when that happens enough time, people build enough confidence with me that they either hire me for a speech or they, sign up for Sales RX, my online retail sales training program. But I won't kid you. I've had people who have been watching me for 2 and 3 years who finally one day say, I finally decided to do it. I wish I had done this years ago. And I'm like, didn't we build enough trust? Well, we did, but a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I already know how to do that. And then one day they kind of hear me enough and realize, well, my crew doesn't do that. I'm skating around the pond here. What do I need to do? It's kind of like I think I have a blog coming up. Probably I'm going to write in May, but this idea that coaching is the way retail has to do. Oh, we coach everybody. Well, if you don't know how to play the game, what the hell is the point of coaching, right? If I tell you, oh, put your hands here on the football so that it throws, and you don't know how do you score or what the other team is trying to do or the positions, what the hell difference does it make how you hold it? You're going to lose anyway. But a lot of people get this idea that, oh, we coach people. Well, if you don't have a foundation, right? If you don't have a foundation of how it works and what we do and how we interact, coaching is worthless because all you're doing is telling people what to do and they don't have it here. So it goes in one ear and out the other. But I digress, Sandra. I got on my little soapbox there for a minute. So let's go back. You want to do creative videos. Great. I honestly don't know how to get started with this. Could use some advice on how often. All right. So let's start off. If you've never done it before, plan to do one a week. And I encourage you to do it the same time for the first month. One a week, first month. Second, ask your customers, what would you like me to talk about? Or what questions do you have about? And see if they will answer that. They probably won't if you haven't got a good dialogue on it, but it's a good place to start. What cheap already type of tools to have? Well, I don't believe in cheap. I use a Logitech 4K camera. That's the one that you're seeing right now. It's the cleanest. It looks great. I think it works really well. I also pay for a company called StreamYard. That's where my video comes through because I have a lot of toys. I can do a lot of things with it that makes it interesting. But again, they have a free account. They have a paid account. You can certainly try that with that. Get some good lights. If I was to, I don't think I want to take my camera off. I was going to say I could show you, but I have two. Maybe I can. Oh goodness, there it is. There's one of the big ones. So I have two monitors, and then I have two big light pods. That's a little old fashioned nowadays. They do it with digital. They'd be a lot smaller, but make sure there's enough light to see it. So you being in a cramped corner isn't really exciting. And the other thing is just be clear on what you're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about 3 ways anyone can clean a sink. I know you're thinking, I already know how to clean a sink. Well, stay tuned for the 3rd one because that's going to be the most important. So you get tip 1, give tip 2, and you go, and by the way, we also carry this stuff over here. Okay, let's get to step 3. It's right here. Make sure it's at least 3 to 5 minutes to start. You can always come up with a private group. So, your test group. Start that, do a live video, go and look at it again and say, wow, that really sucked, or wow, I'm amazing. Whatever it is, then you can fine tune that. And then when you decide, you go online. So I hope that helps. That was a lot, Sandra. So I hope that helps. Chua says, does online marketing e-commerce a must to stand up alone shop nowadays? Yes, I think I've answered that. E-commerce is not a nice to have. It's a must have. Online marketing is very tough. I won't kid you. I took the tack a long time ago. I was going to be of service to my tribe. Excuse me. So I answer questions here. I have a newsletter with 80,000 people. I do social posting so that I want to get people to come to me. It's called inbound marketing. That's the way I've built my brand for 35 years. Nowadays, online marketing, there's an awful lot of people that say, oh, take out a Facebook ad, or, oh, take out an Instagram ad or sponsored post. There's a million ways to spend your money. But if you aren't really looking at having an offer that people really want to take advantage of, like for example, Sales RX. A lot of people look for a sale on Sales RX. I don't do that because my first book was um, You Compete: How to Double Sales Without Discounting. I don't believe in doing that. Or if I do a promotion, it might be like I take give you some extra uh, counseling with me. Yeah, it's not quite the right word, but in any event, that's what I want to build. So but most people would say, if you really want to market it, then give them a discount of 30% off if they buy now. I'm not a fan of that because now it sets your online versus your brick and mortar, and that's really dangerous. That's the other thing I would mention if you're having as you're looking at your online, that it has to mirror what's happening in your store. Nobody wants to go in the store. It's cheaper, or the promotion works only online, or any of that other stuff. They're your customers. Treat them the way you'd want to be. So there you go. I'm going to take a quick look at your comments. If you have any other questions, you can certainly ask them now because I'm going to keep looking. Hey, Jennifer from Petoskey, Michigan. I don't know if that's up in the Paw or where that is. Oh, Jill, aren't you great? I know. I look back at that and think, man, was I on trend or what? Because a lot of people are like, why would I need to do that? It's like, well, you'll find out. All right. I'm going through. Yeah, custom is not for everyone. That's right, David. I love that. That's a great point about the picture framing. Custom is not for everyone. There's other people. Yeah, we can also do it stock, which would save you money. I love that. That's great. Uh, I, Revive says, someone comes in with a drink, I say, welcome, so you may shop easily. Please put your drink here in a most friendly voice. They always are compliant, not annoyed. It's going to be tougher with ice cream. And again, you can poke holes in all of it and say it's impossible, and you win. So I say, why not try to find a way to do most of it and be nice and try to find that in here? Because if you're upset, we'll take a little sidebar here. So this last weekend, I was doing custom content for one of our biggest clients. And I'm getting into the swing of things, and the teleprompter breaks, and it keeps breaking over and over again. And what happens is you lose your place, you lose your rhythm. And I said to the director, I've got to make sure this doesn't show on camera. And that's the same thing if you're going to be telling people to please wait outside if you have ice cream, or put the drink here, and make sure it's a pretty tray and it's got a little blotter under it, so it's not like, put it here. Make sure that it feels good, because otherwise you get out of your rhythm of being welcoming, and it puts a barrier in place. So I love that. That's great. Glad to know that that works for you, Nancy. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, that's great to hear. I'm glad you're back, Cheryl. Congratulations. Wonderful, wonderful. Uh, exactly, Jill. Exactly. You might get creative, but the goal is not followers. You need buyers. And that's one thing that I've, quite frankly, if more of you converted to Sales RX, I would probably do more live videos. But you know what I do instead is I have meetings with our Facebook group for Sales RX. And that's where I tell all my best tips, because they're the ones that are actually paying for me. But as far as just keep doing this for free, when nobody, if more people started buying it, I probably would do more of them. But when you don't, you're just kind of sitting there being passive and waiting for me to tell you what to do. It becomes harder for me to justify that taking my Sunday mornings. Does that make sense? And I think that's what we're saying here, Jill. That's great. All right. Hey, Ann, glad you're here this morning. Yep, that's the one I use, the Logitech 4K. Oh, nice, David. I love that. Discounts for an admission of overcharging. Well, good. Listen, I'm glad you joined me today. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a happy whatever it is on your platform, and hopefully you'll share it with your friends, because at the end of the day, there is more opportunity than you were ever aware of. And if you want to limit yourself and feel bad, you win. But if you take that idea of there's so much opportunity, where do I look next? People feel that. They follow you, whether it's online, in store. And you know what? Those lookers become buyers and then become your raving fans. So with that in mind, I'm going to leave you for the day. Thanks for joining me. And again, please share this with your friends, like it, give me some comments, let me know what you got out of today. And I'm going to talk to you soon. Thanks so much.